Hey y'all, how you doing? It's Urban Sweetheart. I just got home from work and I've been thinking about some things. So I'm about to do this story time. Um, and I want some feedback if y'all could, anybody have anything they want to add or maybe they think about it. Anyway, so I just got home, put some Noxzema on my face. I had a little bit of breakout up here. Uh, and I washed my hair. As you can see, I got a little bit of hair. Anyway, get ready to fix me a drink. So let's start out by saying anybody under the legal age, um, children, whatever, please leave my page now. And I'm tired, but I need to get this out while it's fresh in my mind. Yep, looking tight right, looking tight right. Okay. So what I want to talk about is my first experience dating a white man. Okay. As you can see, I am a black woman. I'm 49. I started dating him when I was, I'm trying to think when my birthday had passed yet. I don't think it had. I was 46. 46, yeah. 46 years old. And he was 51. 51. Okay. We met through a mutual friend who was black. And, we started talking. It was easy get along. We instantly hit it off. Our first date was on New Year's Eve. I came down to see him from where I was living. And we hit it off instantly, like we had been friends for a long time. And very comfortable. He made me feel extremely comfortable. I was scared at first because I talked to my sister and I was like, if I haven't contacted you by XYZ hour, call the cops. I told her exactly where I was going. Call the cops. This guy got me. Call the cops. If I don't contact you. So we had this little setup and I was like, if I contact you and I say this keyword, then you know something is wrong. Just in case. So anyway, so a little background. I was raised in the inner city in what some people would call the hood. Grew up poor. He was raised in the suburbs of South Jersey, middle class suburbs. So that was a very, that's a clash right there, if you ask me. But like I said, he made me feel very comfortable. We had good conversation, and there was an attraction. So anyway, we dated for a few months, and then he asked me not to see anybody else. We were having a great time, wonderful connection, getting close. He wanted to introduce me to his mother. We went everywhere. We spent as much time as we could, even though I lived North Jersey, he lived South Jersey. I still had baggage. I still was staying in the same home of my ex-boyfriends. It was our apartment. We had never separated, even though to me it had been over for a long time. For about 3 or 4 years before that, I wanted to get married. I asked him several times, and he told me flat out no. If you can find somebody to marry, you go ahead. Or who's putting this in your head? Your sister, this and that. And I was so hurt, so hurt. I've been with him for over, at that point, it probably was close to 20 years, 19 or 20 years. And just because I wanted to be official, I got that on multiple occasions. And when the shit finally hit the fan, when he found out that I was serious about leaving, and no, it wasn't talking to this guy, he acted a fool. He was like, I never said that. I never said that. My oldest son had to tell his father, Dad, I heard you tell her that on several occasions. Oh, if I said it, I was joking. You don't play with shit like that. And pretty much after that, it was never the same again. It was never the same. But I stayed. I tried to leave. I stayed for the children. And because he got very violent, threw the computer at me, smashed it up with a hammer, sat with his clothes off in the living room with a knife in front of him all night. I was scared. I was really scared for my life, for my children. I didn't even care about him. I was like, you kill yourself, you kill yourself. I don't care. That's your choice in life. But I was scared for me and my children. And I stayed. The next day I told him, all right, I'll stay. Even though I didn't love him no more. It was just pity. Pity. So anyway, I stayed. I continued to talk to other people. There was no love there no more. He tried to keep talking about, I love you. I'll do this for you. And no, when I wanted to get married, it was a no. So I felt like you didn't value me, that, it was over. It was over. It has to be a point where if somebody loves you, you've been with them for so long, a simple request, he had to sit and think about it. She want to get married, that's the least I could do for her. She has my three boys, our only children. We don't have any children from anywhere else, just our three boys. You could have respected me enough to really consider it and say, this is what this woman, supposedly you love me, this is what she wants, to get married. You should have did it. You should have did it. But I digress. All right, so we go ahead about 3 or 4 years. I'm still living there. I should have been left. Y'all could tell me this over and over in the comments. You're a girl. You should have left. You were scared. You should have left. I stayed. I pretty much stayed for the kids. That's what I was living for, my children. Working myself to the bone, not taking care of myself. It finally came to 2016 when I was like, you know what? I need to change. I'm going to die in this situation, miserable, because I was just getting worse health-wise. My health was just plummeting. Every time I go to the doctor, she was adding extra medicine. Couldn't control my high blood pressure. No matter what I did, it couldn't get under control. She kept having to add a pill or up the dosage. And everybody here knows that medicine is just masking the symptoms of what's wrong with you. It's masking the symptoms, but not treating the actual problem. So finally, I was like, you know what, Teresa, you have to make a change. You need to get out of this situation. You're not happy. You're miserable. Your children are old enough that they'll be all right, and you have to live your life for you. So I started taking steps to improve my health and improve and get out of that relationship. And during that process, that's when I met this white guy. So, like I said, me and him were getting on good. Some people tell me I shouldn't have told him anything about who I was with and, the situation, but I didn't want to lie. I told him this, it was over. We were just staying together for the kids. I just needed to get out. Which I think I was still using the ex as a crutch. Didn't want to let him go and fall on my face. Instead of just, taking that chance I was going to stand on my own, I used him as a crutch, something to fall back on. So as time went on, I think the relationship started deteriorating between me and the white guy because I believe he wanted me to be closer. That distance can play a big part because the person is lonely. They want to spend time with the other person and they can't. And, I was limited when I really could come down. Couldn't really talk on the phone at home, anything like that. Couldn't invite him where I lived at. That took a very bad toll. And the ex was still trying to pull me back, talking about he was going to get this guy. He knew he was white. He knew where he lived and this and that. And I was a little bit afraid because remember the craziness with the knife and smashing up stuff. So I told the white guy, and I don't know if he was scared or whatever, but he told me if your ex ever came to where I lived or worked, we would have to stop seeing each other and this and that. And that hurt. That hurt. I thought we had a good relationship. And I got angry. So I took it out on him and was like, well, you know what? Let me get all my stuff now. And we break up now because what's the point? And, he went along with it. He went along with it, which I was surprised. I thought he was going to be like, no, I love you. I don't want you to, this and that. But he didn't say that. So we continued to see each other, even though we weren't a couple anymore. We continued to see each other for over a year. Yeah, it was over a year. Still doing the same things as if we were a couple. And that's my inexperience. I guess being in a relationship with one person for over 20 years, I didn't realize that was the wrong thing to do. I was just settling into another unmarried situation, getting comfortable. So finally, he wanted to spend some time. He was on vacation, and I happened to be on vacation the same time. And he wanted me to come down and us spend a few days somewhere. And I didn't really care for the place that he picked. So instead of telling him that, I just told him I had other plans. I couldn't make it. He took that as I was seeing somebody else. And that was his escape. Maybe he didn't want to see me anymore. That was his escape. Instead of saying that he didn't want to see me anymore. Within a few weeks, I contacted him again to see how he was. Now, mind you, the last 6 months before that, I had been working a lot of overtime and searching areas down closer where he lived. And I was planning on finally making the move down to this area and transferring down here to this area to be closer, because we still, even though it wasn't official, we still were a couple. And I thought that would bring us closer together. Well, anyway, when I contacted him, he was like, I thought you were seeing somebody else while you didn't come down for our vacation, this and that. I was like, no. I said, well, I didn't want to tell you. I worked overtime because I was close to having enough to get in the place I wanted down XYZ closer to where he was living so we could spend more time together. He's like, oh, why are you telling me this now, this and that? Well, I thought you were seeing somebody. I made plans to go out on a date with somebody. I'm like in shock. And a date? he was like, yeah, she's a nice lady, and we have been friends for a while, and I finally, made the move, and she said yes, and we're going out Friday. I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday. Why now you calling with this shit and this and that? And he was angry. And I was like pleading, no, please. And, uh, you know, we're good together and just all kind of stuff like that. And I was going to be closer and it could have got better and this and that. He didn't want to hear it. And I was pretty much in tears and I was just hyperventilating and everything. And finally, we just said goodbye. I don't even know if he just hung up on me or whatever. I don't think he hung up on me, but it was a goodbye. And I called my sister. I was hysterical. And she was like, I was driving home. She was like, pull over, pull over. Where are you? Where are you? I couldn't hardly talk. I just was distraught because I really was in love with that guy. Anyway, fast forward from, I think it was in October, I finally moved down in the beginning of the middle of March. I moved down and I got comfortable. And a month or so later, I think I talked to him and I told him, yeah, I did move down and this and that. And he couldn't believe it. I think he thought I was bullshitting him, that I was just going to stay forever with the ex. I was never going to leave. And I went over, I had left some stuff at his place that I never picked up. I went over, picked my stuff up, and I said, did the usual woman thing. I said I had to go to the bathroom. Of course, I looked all in the cabinets and seen if it was women's stuff in there, which it was a toothbrush and toothpaste up in the cabinet, and I knew where his stuff was and what brands he used. It wasn't his. So I left out of there. I didn't say anything. And I was collecting my stuff. Next thing I know, he turns to me and gives me a big kiss, which threw me off guard. I came there to get my stuff. And I was like, wow, you're bold, aren't you? And I, used my hand and pushed him away. And then he came back at me again and kissed me again. And I said, okay, I have to go. And I got the stuff. I don't even know. I think I left some more stuff, but I got what I had out and I left. And he's texting me and stuff, talking about come back and this and that. So after that, he was calling, which I never answered, and texting me a few times, telling me he missed me and all this and that, seeing me again. It brought that back up. But I'm thinking about this chick that you're supposedly went on a date with. I seen, okay, I'm not going to lie, I went on social media and I seen a few of the pics of they went out several times. And I seen her. Oh, I didn't even tell y'all. After me and him, he told me about the date. He had the nerve to text me and tell, and by the way, she's black. And I'm like, really? Like, did that even make a difference? I don't care if she was yellow, green, or purple. You just broke my damn heart. I don't give a shit what color she is. What, you got a black woman fetish now that you needed to tell me she was black? I wouldn't care if you told me she was white, Puerto Rican. I didn't care. I was hurt. So anyway, a few times later, he had called me and we talked a little bit, not really saying much. It was, he was still saying I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't communicate well because if I would have told him what was going on instead of trying to keep stuff a secret, that maybe he wouldn't have started talking to somebody else or whatever. So I went over one day and we had a little something to eat. And we were talking and he started kissing me again. And the kissing led to a little bit extra more. Next thing I know, he went upstairs to get something to his bedroom. And he was like, come here, I want to show you something. So I went up and I looked. He had something. I don't even remember. That's how unimportant it was. Next thing I know, he's trying to push me on the bed. And I was like, no, 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 no. And he's at this point disrobing himself. Next thing I know, he's laying in the bed. I'm standing there in a daze, like I could just fall back into this. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I could just fall back into this shit and be good with it. But that's not what I wanted. That's not where I was in my mind. I was like, so you and your friend, are you still seeing her? And he's like, no, we were together for a few months. And he was like, there was some things he didn't care for about her, which of course a guy never going to tell you what she didn't care for about him either. But that's what he was saying. There was some stuff he really didn't like about her. I heard from the mutual friend, he brought her to an event that most of the co-workers that me and him know, all his friends, from work and everything. He never brought me to an event where all his friends and stuff were at work, but he brought her, and they were not impressed. But he never brought me, but he took her to an event with all his co-workers and friends. So, that kind of stabbed at me too. So as I'm thinking about this, I'm numb, thinking, do I fall back into this and see where it goes or what? I stood there, and something in my soul just wouldn't let me do it. So I turned around, walked down the stairs. I gathered my things, and I opened the door. And he was like, so you just gonna leave like that? I stood there for about 20 seconds, and I walked out that door. I walked out the door, got in my car, and left. The next day, he texts me. He's like, what happened yesterday will never happen again. I got a lot of things I need to get it clear in my head and whatever. And I never responded. I was good with it. I guess he said, he didn't get the cookie. He didn't want to be bothered no more. At least that's what I was thinking. So it went by how many months? About 2 months, no contact. I stopped even texting, saying anything to him. I was like, what happened yet? That was the end. To me, that was the end. I didn't fall back in the program. I was down there, and I didn't fall in with it. So I assume whoever's toothbrush and shit was in the bathroom, they was going the new person or whoever. So, to my surprise, out of the blue, about a week ago, no, right now it would be about 2 weeks, he contacted me through a text, and he was like, I know it's been a while. I want us to get together so we can discuss some things. Looked at it for about 3 or 4 days. I was kind of intrigued what we could be discussing. And so I called, and I was like, okay, when can we get together? We tried to figure out through our schedules, which still was kind of ragged. And we finally worked out to go have an early lunch. And so when we got there, we both brought our cars. I didn't have him come pick me up or anything like that. He tried to hug me. I just touched his hands, hey, how are you? We went inside. We had lunch. After we started eating, he wanted to talk about us, about how did we get to that point? What went wrong? My first thing is, you was talking to somebody else. That's what went wrong. Somebody else. The minute shit didn't work out right, I didn't come down or whatever. You had somebody in the back hole that you finally got up the courage to say something to. That's what I say went wrong. So I said, well, you got bored and you started seeing somebody else. He was like, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about earlier. What went wrong? I kept saying, I assume you got bored. I said I was a little bit needy, which I did. I needed reassurance that he would be there because he wanted me to move down there. I know he did, to be closer so our relationship could advance, spend more time together. But I was scared because I would have to move all the way down here. I would have to, transfer to be closer to a different place to be closer for work. So I wouldn't have to take that drive up to North Jersey every day. And I was scared. I like I told you, I was using the other guy as a crutch. I was scared to let go of the old to see what could be. So I was very needy of him, needing him to tell me he loved me. He wanted to be with me, just not, for the moment, but that he seriously had feelings for me. And he did say I was a little bit needy. We both admitted that we didn't communicate well because he said he could have found out and talked to me, asked me, was I seeing somebody else instead of just assuming. We talked about the distance and, we wanted to see each other more, but we couldn't. And we talked about the situation. I needed to get out on my own. And, if I ever was going to have a relationship with anybody, I needed to get on my own and really live, which I did. Start living on my own. I started, having to be by myself. So after all of that, he asked me, well, you think we could try to give it another shot? And I didn't answer. I told him I would have to think about it. After we finished eating, we both left to go get in our cars. He wanted me to get in his car to talk some more, which I was like, why? I was like, no, it's time for me to go. And so he got out. He gave me a little quick hug. And he tried to kiss me. He tried to lift up my head and kiss me. Sister wasn't having that. No, your lips, man. So I didn't let him kiss me. No, we're not there. So I told him I would really think about it. And we left. I took about a week. And I called him. And I told him that I was not interested in being in a committed relationship at this point. I'm enjoying my freedom, learning new things, meeting new people. I said we could go out on dates and see if that leads to anything more, if anything is rekindled, since I'm closer now. But no, we cannot go back to how it was. And I told him, if you're not okay with that, just let me know. It's fine. It took me a long time to get over him because that was a big hurt. So I'm not ready to jump back into that fire again. It made me really dislike white guys. I'm not even going to lie. Because I didn't understand them, and it didn't help that he came from middle class because they do stuff way different than us regular people. Yeah, now the middle class going, ooh, what do you mean? They do. We're different. Growing up poor in the inner city hood area is very different from growing up in the suburbs and predominantly white, area. So he got back to me about a day or so later, and he was like, that's fine. He wanted to, first just a date. He wanted to clear his head or whatever anyway, which I think that's crock and bull. What do you mean clear your head? You called me. You're the one that initiated this. Obviously, your head is clear. I guess you just didn't want to look like desperate and a fool. So you were like, I need to clear my head. No, you didn't. But you was like, yes, all right. So we go out. If we don't, we don't. I'm really, at this point, like I said, it's really no serious connection there anymore because I finally let that go. It took some months to do some deep work deep work on myself to let him go and realize what I did wrong, what he did wrong, and, let it go. Just let it go for the better. Let it go. But like I said, it turned me off to white guys. I had a couple of more that approached me, not necessarily trying to date, but, flirting or trying to, speak to me. And I just shut it down immediately because it turned me off. And you know what? In a way, the whole situation of dating a white guy was not the best. Many a time going out, going places, I seen black guys, especially looking at me with the look of, girl, you know you wrong. Shaking their head and everything like, sister, sister, sister. But I'm like looking at him like, brother, brother, brother. If y'all would do right by us sisters, we wouldn't have to look and entertain nobody nowhere else. And then a lot of you, it's entertaining other women of other nationalities and stuff. It's not even like we're the only ones doing it. But I encountered it a lot, of getting the stares, of getting the shaking the head, of getting the look. And I didn't like it. And same goes from when we went places, in his area. I'd get the stares and stuff and feel uncomfortable and just try to rise above it. Like, I don't care what you think, That's what you have to have, very thick skin if you're going to date out of your race, especially such a difference of black and white. There's something about it in this country that's just, it's very taboo. Still very, very, I don't care what nobody else say. You just have to be very strong and just don't care. Like, I don't care. I love him. I want to be with him. I don't give a damn what y'all think. And you just can't feed into it. I think I could have made it, but like I said, with what happened and how stuff went wrong, it just turned me off to white guys. So now it's like date. We haven't went anywhere yet, and I really, you know what? I don't even think of nowhere unless he calls and be like, "Hey, you want to go somewhere?" I don't see myself contacting him. Maybe I should have just told him no. That's what I was starting to think in my head. Maybe I should have just said no, that at this time, I just don't see us being a couple anymore. So why even try? I shut him out of my heart, shut him out of my life, felt betrayed by him. Even though we weren't a couple, that's why a little bit I'm like, how could you be betrayed and y'all weren't a couple? Y'all pretty much was friends with benefits, really. We weren't a couple anymore, and he made sure he made that clear. We weren't a couple, but we were trying to work things out. Whatever. We still was doing couple things. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. So what do y'all think? Should I try to open my heart, open myself up to give him another chance and see where this goes? And just so y'all know, I do have a couple more friends that we go out sometimes, but there's no love right now in my life. I want it to be. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I want love. I don't really want to be alone. I'm 49. I want somebody home, with me. I want to be safe and secure with the man I love. I want to be married. I do. I've never been proposed to or nothing. Should I give him another try? A chance, not a try, a chance. Very slow chance, because I'm not rushing and jumping into anything. Or should I just chalk it up to experience of being with a white guy and, it wasn't a good experience, and just let it go and move on? And like I said, I haven't dated another white guy after that. I don't think I ever will. I won't say never, but it's not in the cards. That's something I'm not planning or looking for. It would just have to be something so extraordinary that it would just I can't deny it. But nah, I had a very bad experience. So no. So tell me what y'all think in the comments section. Something a little different. All right. As always, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I still need about 250 more subscribers. Anybody that wants to subscribe, it's much appreciated. All right. Bye, y'all.